It's amazing. The NBA is amazing. The playoffs are amazing. This series between Orlando and Boston is going to be amazing. And you guys are amazing for watching the show and coming back. Thanks a lot, guys. Back with Jerry's NBA Real Talk TV. Appreciate you coming back. This video is the first part of the matchup between Orlando Magic and the Boston Celtics. So let's get started. I got a lot of things I want to talk about. First of all, congratulations to the Boston Celtics. As you guys know, I'm a big LeBron James fan, and that is the team that knocked us out of the playoffs. The better team won. Congratulations to them. Good luck to both of them. Now, the Boston Celtics first. They're hungry right now. Don't worry about what happened to them in the regular season. Obviously, they're clicking on all cylinders. They beat the Miami Heat 4-1 in the first round of the playoffs. Very easily, I might add. Paul Pierce hit a game-winning shot. They blew him out one game. Kevin Garnett actually got suspended for one game. That's the game they blew him out the next game. So Boston is definitely hungry. They're back with a fire. They're looking almost like the 2008 team, except for obviously they don't have P.J. Brown and James Posey, but they do have I believe a little bit better of a defender of a Tony Allen. They got Rasheed Wallace, and they got a lot better, probably double better, of Rajon Rondo. So they are ready to go. Now, they also have the revenge factor against the Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic, if you guys recall, beat them in the playoffs last year in 7 games. Now, mind you, Kevin Garnett wasn't playing in that series, but I don't think Boston really cares about that because they want revenge, and they really want to beat them, so, and rightfully so. Also, excuse me, they're battle tested right now. The Orlando Magic have not really beaten anybody right now. They beat the Bobcats, swept them convincingly because they had no really big man to stop Dwight Howard. They had some big men, but nobody formidable. And then they played the Atlanta Hawks, who definitely didn't have a big man. Al Horford was playing out of position the whole time. He's a power forward trying to check Dwight Howard, and they were just raining threes all over the Atlanta Hawks. So, but the Celtics are battle tested. They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, who record-wise in the NBA had the best record in the NBA, and they had the best player, in my opinion, in the NBA, and they beat them. So and beat them pretty convincingly, even though they beat them in 6. To me, it was almost like a 5-game series because game 1 of that series, if you recall, Boston had an 11-point lead at the half. And the reason, in my opinion, we won the Cleveland Cavaliers won that game is because, Mo Williams got his first dunk, and that sparked a little run from the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, Celtics are ready to go. They are a great team. They're a great defensive team. They spread the love around as far as offense goes, and they're ready to go. Now, back to Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic are hungry too. They're not, like I said, they haven't been really battle tested yet, and it's not their fault. They've handled their business. They set an NBA record in the second round against the Atlanta Hawks of points per game, beating a team in a sweep. I believe it was 25 points per game. They beat the Atlanta Hawks by in 4 games. So you could just that's not saying that Orlando Magic didn't play well, and they just play some bums or whatever, but Atlanta Hawks were definitely overmatched. No question about that. But hey, Orlando handled their business. What can you say about that? Orlando, is a 3-point shooting team. They work inside out. They are a championship-built team. What I mean by that is they start from the inside with the big man, Dwight Howard. In my opinion, the best center in the NBA right now. He's coming off of back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year awards. He also led the league in rebounding and led the league in field goal percentage, which no player has ever won or led the NBA in all 3 categories. They are built to win a championship because they give the ball to their big man inside, and then if he gets double teamed, he kicks it out to 3-point shooters, and all 4 of their players are surrounding Dwight Howard can hit threes, every single one of them. So it's pick your poison with the Orlando Magic, and they're hungry. They want to beat the Lakers. The Lakers beat them in 5 games last year in the finals, but if you really paid attention to that series could have went 7 easy. I'm not saying that Orlando Magic gave 2 games away, but 2 of those games they could have won, pretty easy. So it could have went at least 6, maybe even 7, and they're hungry to not only get back to the finals and show what the world they could do, but they want to beat the Lakers. The moves they've made and the players they picked up are for, to beat the Lakers. That's why they picked up Vince Carter and Matt Barnes and things like that for Kobe Bryant. Because Kobe Bryant last year in the finals against Orlando, and no disrespect to Courtney Lee, but Kobe didn't have to play any defense against Courtney Lee. So that's why they got Vince Carter. Because now you're gonna have to play some D, Kobe. And while you're on offense, you're gonna have to have Matt Barnes on if Orlando Magic advance. So let's talk about the players and what they got working in the matchup. First of all, we got Rajon Rondo and Jameer Nelson. That is going to be a very interesting matchup because Rajon Rondo, in my opinion, is the best player in the playoffs right now, and that includes LeBron James. Rajon Rondo had a triple double for the ages. He had 29 points, 13 rebounds, 13 assists, 18 rebounds. So that was huge. There's only two other players that's ever done that. Wilt Chamberlain and Oscar Robertson. When you're in that kind of category, you're doing something special. Rajon Rondo's specialty is getting into the paint. He plays excellent defense as far as steals, playing the passing lane. He also puts pressure on the ball. And his matchup with Jameer Nelson is going to be interesting because Jameer Nelson is not only very, very fast, but he's deceptively strong. He's like a short, compact, like a pit bull. He's very tough. He can shoot three-pointers. He can drive the lane, and he can also pull up for the mid-range shot. So there's not a whole lot of weaknesses Jameer Nelson has on offense, but he does have his handful. Rajon Rondo. That's going to be a very interesting matchup. But I got to give the slight edge to Rondo on that one, just because of the way he's playing and the information that I have about him so far. Now the interesting thing about the shooting guard and the small forward is I don't know who's going to guard who. Meaning you got Ray Allen and Vince Carter as a 2 and a 3 on Boston, and then you got Matt Barnes and Vince Carter as a 2 and a 3 for Orlando. So I don't know, who's going to guard who. Ray Allen comes off a lot of screens, and I don't know if I want Vince Carter checking Ray Allen like that. Not saying he can't, but he's there to score, Vince Carter. So if you want your score to be on Ray Allen, he's spending all that energy. I don't know if that's a good idea. So Matt Barnes will probably be on Ray Allen, chasing him around screens and stuff like that, because Matt Barnes is basically there to play defense, give length, give toughness, and also hit the open three-point shooter. And he's a pretty good rebounder too for his position. Paul Pierce against Vince Carter, or whatever that matchup goes. That's going to be an interesting matchup too, because Paul Pierce is coming off a very tough series, and he had his hands full with LBJ, and now he's ready to show the world he still can score. But he took one for the team. In that series, because a lot of people don't give him credit for the defense he played on LeBron James. Him and the combination of Tony Allen. They play team ball in Boston, so they don't care if Paul Pierce don't get a whole bunch of points as long as he does his job and try to limit LeBron as much as they can. And at the end of the day, they won the game. That's all they care about. So Vince Carter and Paul Pierce are going to be definitely a good matchup. I don't know who I give that edge to. I might give a slight edge maybe to Vince Carter. And then Ray Allen, I'd probably give a slight edge to Ray Allen over Matt Barnes. But that's neither here or there. That's going back and forth. Now Garnett and Lewis is going to be a very interesting matchup because Garnett is a 7-footer, tough, playing really good defense, talking again. He's moving around. His knee looks like it's pretty good, and he's ready to rock and roll. Rashard Lewis, I'm going to have a tough time dealing with him in the post because he's shorter than him. Now, Rashard Lewis is taller than you think. He's 6'10", okay? But he's still too small for, to check Garnett out there. But vice versa. Rashard Lewis takes Kevin Garnett away from the basket. He shoots a lot of threes. And Garnett, just being out there at the three-point line, 23 feet away from the basket, that's going to take away another big man, another shot blocker to clog the lanes, which they did against Cleveland. And that's going to create passing lanes for driving lanes for Jameer Nelson and Vince Carter and stuff like that. So that's going to be interesting. Now, Dwight Howard and Dwight Howard and Kendrick Perkins at the center is going to be great. I would give the slight edge in the power forward to probably Kevin Garnett. When I come back, I'm going to do a part 2 of this video. I'm going to come back and talk about Dwight Howard and Kendrick Perkins. Kendrick Perkins is a big body. It's going to be a real good matchup. Dwight Howard, obviously, he's the man down low. So when you watch part 2, I'll talk about that. So stay tuned for part 2. Thanks.